cool as an Oakland yet. And Tom Calhoun, the shortest bully in Air Force Academy history, sat there and said, you know what this is? Because like all Air Force water polo, we're pale. We're pale as ghosts. The people we're playing against. We're playing against, people straight off the beach or healthy, after, we're showing up pale. And Tom Calhoun said, man, this is smoke on the water. We're ghosts. And that became, the theme song for our smoke on the water, because we were smoke. And so that was that. And then, when you first meet Walt, the Highlands family, you see Walt, and when I first saw him, I said, my God, this guy's all hair and packs. You got Jimmy Struble, who would sit there and the ball would just fly up out of it. He's going in, it's just a windstorm, and then the ball would just pop in the goal. Don't know how he did it. Kelbo was our steady and wonderful leader. We had Don Gresham, big lefty, but more than anybody else we had Ben Phillips. He was our bat. We were robbers, and Benji was, get the ball to Benji. He is Babe Ruth for this team, which I appreciate. Learning so much the game, play for Benji. But the other person I learned the game from was, of course, Jeff. Jeff showed up. He was coach day one. He showed up. He always had to stand up. You're a rookie, man. We should be doing that. I had a great time with Jeff one time. Jeff and I went to a football game. The Raiders Broncos football game. Barely made it home in time. Coach Pachesky let him borrow the car. And we're sitting there sliding back, we can make it back. But Jeff was cool, he got it back, but like everything else. And Jeff, by the way, man, I'm so impressed with you guys done. Wow. I walk around that field house and just say, wow. I don't know why anybody would want to graduate.
One backstory on that football game. He's a wild Oakland Raiders fan, right? So it's one of these snowy days, it's turning into mud. The game's 3-0 Denver. We're into the fourth quarter, and this is Kenny Stabler throws a bomb to Branch. He reaches out, catches it, slides through the mud for a touchdown right in front, and he's foolish enough to stand up and start screaming Oakland. Sitting in front of us were about 8 guys that took 2 of me to fill their jersey, and all they had, offensive linemen. So he's yelling and screaming, and this old lady, about 80 years old, turns around and looks at me. That's Sandy. Looks at me, she spits in my face. She says, "Go back to Oakland." I said, "Billy, we're leaving at the 2-minute warning."
Okay, next up, class of 1982, Keith Lindbergh. He's it says here on the note, you're team captain, representing, let's see, the only, and he's representing class 82, and the class 82 is the only Air Force class to qualify for 3 NC2A water polo championship tournaments. After graduation, Keith attended medical school, and he's now a doctor in the local area. Keith?
Doctor.
So I do need notes. The years are hard. You can't remember what you wanted to say last night. so I thought I'd write down a few things. But yeah, my class was the only class to go to the Nationals 3 times. We almost won a game. We were that close. So I really admire the classes that have won a game. So when I'm speaking, I'm really speaking for the classes that were there when Jeff showed up. So 82, 83, and 84. 81 was already, they were gone. They were getting ready to graduate. They didn't care anymore. So 82, 83, 84.
Stick up for yourself.
So we all have a beginning. That time when you start to become who you're going to be the rest of your life. You know, it's not when you're in high school, or you're too young, you're too malleable, you're little, you don't know who you're going to be or what you're going to be. For some, the beginning might happen in college, or it might just be that time is when you lay the groundwork for who you're going to be. You decide who you're going to be. The beginning might become when you're at pilot training. You decide, man, I'm going to be a pilot, and I'm going to just light up the world. Or it might be in professional school. It might be your first job after the academy. At some point, you decide what you're going to be and who you're going to be. So I will argue that for Jeffrey Najum Heidmas, that moment was when he became the coach of the Air Force Academy. So he had this communications job. I don't know much about it, but I don't really think that was what he was going to do for the rest of the year. So apparently he got an opportunity, and I think he jumped on it. So there was spring of 1981, and we, the classes of 82, 83, 84, knew we were getting a new coach, but probably none of us had ever met him. We knew Phil. You know, he was okay. So, you know, we were okay giving the new guy a break, because, he was Phil's brother. So still we were pretty anxious, because we had some pretty good coaches before that. We had Ryan Davis, and we had Denny Lombard, and Chips, as we like to call Davis, Justin Davis. He was head coach for the first 2 years. And then there was Denny Lombard, who was a good guy, F4 pilot. He was there the whole 3 years, the first 3 years I was there. And Denny was the head coach that third year. So they all had left. So they're all gone, and we're getting the new guy. So new guy shows up. And he probably says something like, "So, you guys been working hard this year?" And we, of course, wanting to impress him, said, "Oh yeah, coach, we've been working really hard, man. Really hard." And his response was something like, "Well, you're going to work harder this coming year than you have ever worked before. You're going to work your asses off. So you better get started now." So that was Jeff Heidmas' beginning. Just coming in and going, everything's going to change. You are going to work hard. But then there was one more thing that happened. That same summer, so I'm talking to Jeff. I think he and I were going to a concert or something. And he says, "Oh yeah, I'm bringing somebody along." That was just you and me. He says, "Yeah, I just met her. Her name's Barb. She's a trainer. She drives around in the little golf courts. Takes care of the basics when they get injured." Okay. So anyway, that was it. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of Jeff Heidmas' coaching career, and probably the beginning of his family. Right here at the Air Force Academy. It all starts at the same time. And those activities would define him for a long, long time. So for most of us, this place was our beginning also, where we decide who we're going to be. Most of us here were probably coached by Jeff, or mentored by Jeff. If you weren't, you were probably his teammate, or maybe his best friend. It's safe to say that Jeff Heidmas had a part in the beginnings of the life of almost everybody here. As such, it's right and appropriate that we should honor him here tonight. Congratulations.
Okay, next up, well, now we're in my range. This guy, class 83, Mike Bartley, never really interacted with him since the mid-90s, but I can tell you there's a 4 degree. When he was a senior, he was larger than life. So Mike Bartley, class 83, 3-year letter winner. On the 81 NC2A tournament team, career fighter pilot. He's still in that business. Mike.
I don't have problems talking loud. I never have. If you have problems hearing me, then you're deaf. When I walked up here, as Timmy was introducing me, I could see Barb nudging Jeff going, what the hell is Barb going to say? I was kind of a maverick back then, you know. Jeff was kind of my handler. So I'm going to keep it PG because I have a youngster here. I'm going to tell an epic story that I think some of you may have heard about, but this is the 83, 84, 85, 86 trip to Lauderdale. But I'm going to before I say that, I got a couple announcements. Born to Jordan, class 80. He couldn't make it. He told me to say hello to both of you. You know you're getting old because I hired his daughter, Michaela, 5 years ago to be my administrative assistant. She's still working for us. And I'm just going, holy crap, man, I am getting old. Robin also wanted to apologize because she did sick. I know it's an easy excuse to say, but she did get sick and she couldn't make it. So she wanted to be here, so got that out of the way. All right. So I'm going to piggyback on Keith, and he's kind of a hard guy to follow because we were all in tears in that. So I'm going to keep it a little bit lighter. But I want to kind of introduce, because I was on the team when Jeff came here. I was at Barb and Jeff's wedding, and many of us were. So we were there in the beginning when he became Jeff and the water polo coach. We knew right away that Air Force water polo was going a different direction. Denny Lombard tapped me on the shoulder when I was in that basic training. I wasn't recruited for water polo. I was actually recruited here to dive. I didn't like it. I was scared back then. So you guys remember they took the water polo pool and they divided it into four little small pools, and they threw it in there. It wasn't water polo. It was drowning for most of the basic events. So here's Flash Bartley, Bart Bartley back then, and I'm in there going, holy shit, we're playing water polo. And I get in there and I'm shooting from half court and scoring goals. I'm trying to get these people that are drowning just to pass me the ball. Like they're hanging on it like this. And I'm on the side of the pool like this, and I get a tap on my shoulder, and Denny Lombard, and you look around, I get this tall, lanky guy, and he goes, son, who are you? I go, cadet basic, whatever I'm saying. He goes, don't do that shit, don't call me sir. I said, who are you? He says, I'm the head water polo coach. And I said, that's nice. He goes, who are you and where are you from? I said, well, I'm from South Florida. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And he says, you're coming out for the varsity water polo team, aren't you? And I go, yes, sir, I am now. But anyways, when Jeff got there, we'd gone through a couple coaches like Bird said, and it was definitely different, trust me. I mean, we saw things in him, we're going places. I still remember Puma sneakers, weight belts. I mean, shit that I'd never seen this in water polo before. He had an idea, all that stuff where's Bill? Bill was talking about that he was coaching when he was a player. We were the beneficiaries of that. It was hard, but it was good. I look back on my academy days, and all I remember is water polo. I don't care about the academics really. I mean, I graduated at 2.34. It didn't work. I probably beat a lot of you guys out. as I grew up in the Air Force, and I went through my thing, I used the things that he taught us. You know, he taught us, you know, that nothing good is unless you work really hard for something. You know, we're not going to do this, and we're going to do it together as a team. Camaraderie, you know, fellowship. Those are the kind of things I took out through my career. And I appreciate all that. You know, I wasn't always around. I was out fighting America's wars. I came to 1 or 2 alumni games, but I always knew you were here, as all of us did. You know, we kind of tied us to Air Force water polo. We never got, you know, mailings, emails. That stuff doesn't happen with a lot of time and commitment. You know, you look at these detailed synopsis of these games. I'm sitting there, I'm going, Jesus, Jeff, get to the end. What's the score, Jeff? It's like, we took this shot. Okay, it bounced off the goal. Okay, what was the score? That's all I want to know. We appreciate it. Everyone appreciate it. We knew that water polo was going to get progression. What you've done here is indescribable. And you know what? Nobody will ever be able to describe what you've done for a lot of people. You know, these young guys are going out there, and you know, one of the things I always remember from the Air Force was that, you know, it really doesn't matter what you did in the Air Force. It's about, you know, what you did for other people that are going to keep the long blue line going. And that's what you're doing. Okay, now here's the light part of it. Okay? I gotta talk about the Lauderdale trip because it's epic. Okay, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, and you know, my claim to fame is I was the best water polo on the Air Force team from Cooper City High School. I'm the only one. But anyways, so Jeff, you know, my senior year in about October of '82, Jeff goes, we're going to Lauderdale. And if anybody knows, we always stayed here. It's at Timmy Shields' house. We're sleeping on the floor. We didn't stay in hotel rooms. He goes, call your parents, tell them we're coming. We're bringing 15 guys, and you got to feed them.